stick around and get some. Live from New York, it's Ask This Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to yet another live broadcast from the Adafruit factory here in downtown Manhattan. This is where we do the design, engineering, manufacturing, testing, shipping, and support for all of the lovely devices that you use for your projects. I'm Lady Ada, the engineer.
That's right.
With me is Mr. Lady Ada on camera control. Got an exciting show tonight. It's going to be jam-packed.
Not Shiva, the god of death.
No, you're not. You're just Phil.
All right.
But last week was Ask a Lawyer, and so we are going to do double time.
Yeah, we're going to go really fast tonight, so you might need to play it back later at half speed.
Plug
Are you
in
ready?
your seatbelts.
Buckle up, buckle in. Here we go, Lady Ada. You ready?
Let's do this thing.
On tonight's show, the code is NRF52. We'll tell you why. Your purchases support us, Adafruit, an open source hardware company in New York City, led by this lady over here.
This lady.
Yeah, Lady Ada. Show and tell, people around the world showing and sharing their projects is our favorite half hour. Mailbag, we're going to be playing your voicemails to us this week. Thank you for calling in and leaving nice messages. Time travel, look back and in the present of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. Main New York, some factory footage. Nimbus, the friendly cloud entity, we'll talk about that. Some 3D printing videos, new products. We'll answer your question, we'll have some top secret, and we're going to give away something at the end of the show, live on the air. All that and more on Ask an Engineer.
Everyone loves free stuff.
Yeah.
So tune in.
All right, Lady Ada, we're doing this thing.
Okay.
So just a little bit of a reminder, pay some bills to help some of these skills. NRF52 is the code all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, except for Ada Box and gift certificates. Don't forget, you are watching Ask an Engineer every Wednesday 8 p.m. and Show and Tell, which we just did, 7:30 p.m. every Wednesday. If you check out before 11 a.m. in your New York City, you can get same-day delivery. And no matter what, if you're in the continental U.S., $200 more, you get free UPS ground. Lady Ada, Show and Tell. We had more folks, I think, than ever, like 13.
We had ridiculous.
We're not going to go through every single one. Go to youtube.com/Adafruit, watch the replay later. But talk about some of the projects.
Noam Pedro showed off this week's projects for 3D Hangouts, JST switches. Scott is traveling in London, showed off some awesome blue plaques, checked out the wedding hackerspace, they're hacking buses. Adam came back, showed us an update for his scanning electron microscope. What does it have to do with Cape Canaveral? Watch the video, you'll find out. Right. Bill showed off a booth, kids making 3D printed accessibility switches. What a great way to save money and help people. More projects as well. Scott. Not Scott, the first Scott, another Scott, has a purr box for costumes. He's haptics. It's super cool. Great hoodie. Check it out. Sally Byers has a skirt that will resist for her. The video is amazing and colorful. Check it out. Got lots of LEDs. Alex from Hackster would like you to know that you can get free tools when you log into Hackster. They've got Upverter, Circuito, I can't pronounce it, all sorts of PCB embedded creations. And she also talked about future tools that they're going to be added. What are they? Again, got to watch that video. Okay. John and his friend are doing some like ambient drone instruments with motors. They also need some help. Do you know about motors? Watch the video because they have a question for you.
Yeah, post up in the comments because they motors make noise.
You want some help? Yeah. They needed advice from the maker community. Orlando stuck things to his face and then showed us the output on an oscilloscope. Kirby is memorizing lots of digits of pi. How did he do it? He used a Raspberry Pi. Check out his project as well. Also talked about his guide that we will show later in the show. And then C. Scott had some very sad terminal blocks from a 3D printer that he bought, and he showed why the terminal blocks caught on fire and how to fix it. Really good knowledge that was dropped. Was that fast enough?
On the show and tell, get an as seen on the show and tell sticker. Email support@adafruit.com and we'll send you a sticker. Part of our Adafruit Live series. Some Desoladiata. Had some Tony D this week. Tony D showed the MicroPython, CircuitPython, NeoPixel, tweaking, and more. All things MicroPython and CircuitPython.
And there's some CircuitPython news this week too.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Very exciting.
During the week, yesterday, was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Boy, it's been a long week.
It was like 2 yesterdays ago. No, just
we got a chance to ask community questions and a ton of questions to Altium. Ted at Altium was great. He formerly was an ocean engineer, and now he's at Altium. And they're very interested in listening to the maker community. Previously, we had interviewed Eagle, and we're like Charlie Rose of electronics. And one of the things we asked, could we make an Altium badge? Bunny was on our show. Bunny Wang, he made the open source laptop. I have one over here, and he
loves Altium.
He liked Altium.
He's the one who told us that you should talk to him.
And all your questions, I even reached out to Dave Jones and said, hey, Dave, why don't you ask some questions too?
He had some questions.
He had opinions. He has opinions.
They were asked.
Yeah.
I asked them.
So watch the full thing. It's about an hour. And, here's some highlights. There's Ted talking about Altium. Talking.
And you can get half off of Altium Circuit Maker right now.
Yeah, and we did ask what an Altium is, and so I think there might be a community project. I think it's like a bigger eagle or a dragon. Or
maybe it's like an anteater.
Yeah. Okay, what is the Circuit Python news that you want to talk
Circuit
about?
Python news is Scott's traveling, but he'll be back soon, and it's not out yet, but so don't ask, but we have our new, we'll talk about, show off in the overhead, but we have a new feather that's going to be designed specifically for use with Circuit Python, as well as Arduino. So it's going to be a special version of a feather. It's going to be our first board that is basically designed to support Circuit Python. You can use Circuit Python on the ESP8266. You can also use it on our other feather SAMD boards, but this one is going to be designed for it with extra memory, so that you get.
That's what everyone wanted.
Yeah, you get more space, and it has an LED built in, and so it's more optimized for the experience we think people want to have with CircuitPython. So
that's right. You wanted it.
Check that out.
You'll get it. Will it show up as a drive?
It shows up as a disk drive,
Ooh.
and you store your files on it.
You can just double click a code file, and Python
type.
script, and just type, and you're done.
Yeah,
that's
so
it. No IDEs.
Right. And we have a lot of CircuitPython libraries already written. So
don't have to be connected to the internet.
We don't have to be connected to the internet. No Cloud IDE. No IDE at all. No compiler at all. And many of our feather wings will work. We have example code for many of them.
All right. Well, stay tuned. Watch the CircuitPython blog posts, and we also have a MicroPython newsletter that comes out every week. So we'll be putting some developments there. Okay. Next up, we had lawyers on last week, and we answered all the maker questions about a company, patents, trademarks, copyright. Very interesting discussion. Lots of war stories, horror stories, and more, and really good advice from lawyers.
And really good advice.
And they were kind enough to let us take their photo. It turns out you can take lawyers' photos. It doesn't steal their souls. And,
they appear.
Yeah. So thank you, Marty and Jordan. All right. Next up, John Park Makes. I have a 1-minute video from John Park. We're going to watch that. The 11-minute video is on our YouTube channel right now. So here you go. All right.
I love it. That was like the best thing ever.
Sufficiently blew your speakers out. Sorry about that. Pack of the mailbags here. All right, so we're doing something a little different. So when we take calls, because we have a payphone, when we take calls on the air, either from Desk of Lady Ada or Ask an Engineer, if the phone lines are clogged, it'll go to voicemail. So when you leave a nice voicemail, we'll play it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
here's some.
Thanks for the lawyer show. I've really enjoyed it.
Yay, lawyers. Next up,
Hi, this is James from New Zealand. Keep up the great work. Thanks.
New
Bye.
Zealand. And last up,
Hi, this is Jackie calling from Massachusetts. You guys are awesome. Yay!
for some reason, the little thing isn't playing. Why would it do that? That's Jackie. All right. So we'll have the phone number later on the show. Okay, time travel. Look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. Lady
What
Ada.
happened?
Well,
We can barely even keep track of yesterday, so this is pretty amazing.
whew, okay. Women's History Month is still going on the Adafruit site.
Yes?
And I think this is going to be a historic month
Why?
because we did a photo shoot, and for the first time that I remember, you threw a ton of circuit playgrounds up in the air. I have a little video clip from it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah. Here we go.
I love that. And when those other ones get down here, I'll have two of you throw some in from the side, and I think that will get it solid.
No, definitely.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
We could suspend them from the ceiling too.
Get really out there.
Well-
We could get drones, attach them to drones, have a little gate that opens and lets them go.
We already had a drone issue.
Don't say that.
So next up, you were in Google Small Business Community Spotlight from Women's History Month.
I heard about that.
Yeah, time travel this week's a little bit of news.
It's kind of like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, look back in the world of Lady Ada.
This month.
Yeah. So not too long ago, you were a TA at MIT, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you got this pin, and
Yeah, I
pressed-
found it because I was looking through like my makeup jewelry box.
This is the real Y Combinator.
This is the Y Combinator. This is the Y Combinator.
So how do you get one of these pins?
This is the pin, and I'm because it's been 20 years. It's either the pin you get when you TA 6001, or it's the pin you get when you attend 6001. I think we give it to all attending people.
You can't just buy it online.
You can't buy
You can't
this.
just make your own. You can't just make this up. You actually had to go there. You had to teach.
and
you
you
had to do
have to,
something.
and it's the last lecture.
Wow.
Because the last lecture is when we cover the Y Combinator, which you can see here, lovely, or over here, lovely.
Yeah.
And I also have my 6 Hertz shirt on.
And tell us about this shirt.
This is the shirt you get for being Course 6. Well, you can actually,
What's on
anyone
the
can buy
back?
it. It's at 6 bytes.
Okay.
So 6 Hertz, 6 bytes. This is the Course 6 shirt. And Course 6001, the first class, 6001, is the one where you get this button at the very last lecture if you
Yeah.
made it all the way through the class. It's not a weed out class. It's actually a
Yeah.
really good class. But you do have to make it all the way to the end.
I noticed that all your MIT friends have these like shared war stories from like they're just like it's devastating.
It's like you really haven't gone through MIT until you've been in like the Building 4 cluster at like 3 in the morning and crying over your MATLAB. And every single person who went to MIT has gone through that.
Who's that lady that you said was really nice that we just sent some magazines to? Who was
Ann
there?
Hunter.
Okay, shout out to Ann Hunter.
I don't know her formal title, but she's basically the goddess of Course 6.
Okay.
She's the one who kind of makes it all happen.
All right.
And basically is the super advisor. I mean, everyone has their own advisor, but she's like the super advisor. She goes there and
All right.
she's very helpful. And she has a wall with all these cool clippings.
We just sent her some magazines.
And so I was like,
with
I'll
you.
send her some magazines, so she'll
Okay.
have some cool clippings to put on her wall.
All right. Well, thank you, Ann, for
She's
taking care of
awesome.
all these great MIT students.
Yes, she has taken care of every single MIT student
Okay.
who's gone through Course 6. If I walked in tomorrow, if I went to MIT tomorrow and I went to Building 36 and walked into her office, she'd remember who I am. She'd be like, hey, Lamar, I haven't seen you in like 20 years.
Wow,
She knows everybody.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up, we're an open source hardware company. I don't know if you knew that. We are. We have 1,185 tutorials this week. What's on the tutorial?
We have a
board?
lot of tutorials
Yeah.
for this week. Okay. Okay, so we had the gyro guide, and there might be more guides that are below this, but we have the gyro data sheets guide. This is a good guide from K-Town, and this is about, we're actually evaluating a new gyro 9DOF sensor, but while we were looking, we were kind of trying to figure out which sensors were the best, and we actually had a lot of difficulty because a lot of data sheets kind of hide the information. So it's a one-page guide, but it's actually a good demonstration of how to dig through data sheets to get the information you want, because a lot of the times it's like, if you don't have anything to show off, it's kind of hidden. So for example, the best gyro has all of the information, but like the not so good gyros, they don't. So that's kind of the trick, right? Like if you have something to brag about, they put it front and center. If you don't, you kind of have to dig through the data sheet. It's in there, but you have to extract the info. So that's a good one. We have this big project from John Park, the Ninja Timer. As you saw that wonderful video, it's a giant 7-segment display. Even though this is for Ninja Timer courses, you know, people who like climb over things and then hit a button when they get to the end. It's a common request. People who are in schools and they want to have like a big scoreboard, or they want like a timer, or like, this is such a common project that people have asked us about that it can be used for almost everything. 3D hangouts, 3D printed electronic sunglasses, super cyberific. We'll have a video. We have a guide for AdaBox 3. We're going to do more videos with AdaBox 3 soon. As you can.
Unboxing video soon. We have the IoT desk behind us.
We have the IoT desk. It's
That's
not
what the
ruining
big
it
glowing
to
thing
say
is.
that it's IoT based, but
Scale.
what?
How big this is.
It's a big desk. It's the entire cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be doing some videos soon with that. I'll do an unboxing.
Okay.
But there's also get you started. Check it out. You can see the content, check what you got, some guides to get you started. We wrote a whole bunch of guides to get you started on your IoT journey with AdaBox 3. Circuit Python hardware, MPR 121, capacitive touch breakout. This is a project video guide from Tony D, doing more Circuit Python than ever. We're hitting the ground running.
Gearing up.
Toy car speed timer.
Works with AdaBox 3. You just need the sensors. Kirby did a.
But you could use
guide.
it for other stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really
There's
cool. You could tell the speed of little
Yeah.
Hot Wheels.
There's other sensors you could use. that-
TM.
I don't want to ruin it, but they're TM.
TM, yeah.
TM.
Other tiny cars.
Cars.
As well.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we've got the so tiny car starts. That's from Kirby. Thank you. We've got another project from. This is a quickie project from John Park. He has a really nice soft box, and he made it with magnets. And I was like, this is such a good idea because it collapses down when you don't need it. And he just wrote it up. You know, makers need good photo equipment. We actually carry photo stuff in our store, partially because part of making is contributing to this ecology
Yeah.
of documentation.
It's so important to take photos, even no matter what. Don't ever worry about the type of camera. I've heard this so many times. Just
Yeah.
take lots of photos.
And good lighting is 90% of it.
Yeah.
You can have the crummiest camera if you have good lighting. If you
Yeah.
look at like my tutorials from 15 years ago, the cameras were not very good.
No.
They were like 2 megapixel, but if you have really good light, and a box like this helps scatter the light nicely, you will have good photos. And then DIY on-off JST switches. This week's 3D Hangouts project will show maybe a clip of the video
Oh, yeah.
shortly.
Okay. Next up, worth mentioning, the Hackaday Prize is back.
Oh yeah.
Check out Hackaday.io and Hackaday.com. I have nothing to do with it. I was the founder of Hackaday, made the
We're
logo,
not judges.
did the site. We're not judges. Nothing. We have nothing to do with this. We're just saying go check it out because you can win prizes.
And they're giving a
more.
lot of prizes. They have 120. I think
Yeah.
the 125 top people get
Yeah.
$1,000 prize or
a
in
lot.
kind. A lot of opportunities to win. So get your
Okay.
project going. Show it off on Show and Tell as you're working on it. Get good feedback and also keep you on target. And then you can win a fabulous prize and stickers.
Okay. In the news, the 3 laws of robotics are going to get an update. We posted up a blog post, and then there's a Japanese 10 principles of robotics. We have a poster, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to say, just remember the code we write, the things that we say and do, all of those things are going to be inside of a robot, inside of artificial intelligence. So be nice, be excellent, be good, because you might meet your creation one day.
Yeah.
Every science fiction novel said so.
Yeah.
Every science fiction movie said so. Maybe not so much put guns on them, maybe huggy,
But not too huggy too much. Don't crush.
not too huggy.
Not too huggy.
Okay. All right, also, I think this is the first time that lots of open source hardware is in lots of stores. So our stuff is in Fry's now, and you can get it on sale.
Oh yeah.
So we posted that up.
Sweet.
All right. Okay, Lady Ada, we're still moving here.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Some made in New York City. Some factory photos. Reels.
Nice
and
reels.
reels. Some laser cutting.
What is that even? I don't know what that is.
The bot.
Oh, is that the bot?
The IBM bot.
Oh, we were prototyping.
Yeah. This is the same laser we've had for 10 years.
Yeah, it still runs.
And this is a bunch of clickies.
Yep. Your finger's gonna hurt after that.
And then this is just nice to watch.
We did some selective soldering this week, so it's a
Look at
good
that.
time to, yeah, look at it, shiny.
It's beautiful. Some testing.
Testing.
We're catching up from last week, so we have all these little videos. More testers.
Yeah. You can see the product ID on it.
Yep, we carved that out with the other mill. Use a lot of the things from Adafruit. Testing some sequence. Work.
Yay.
First person view of the stencil. This is what it's like.
Did you put that on Michelle's head?
I don't know how they did it. Michelle has a camera. A whole lot of testing going on. And then last week it snowed. And here's a view of the outside of Adafruit. We have a pretty cool snow policy, so if the subways are closed and our team couldn't make it in, we just pay them for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
folks who
machines
could,
were running.
the machines were running. For the folks who could come in, we said thank you. And some folks were able to get in. So we kept running the business. All right, next up. Nimbus, the friendly Internet of Things cloud entity, is back. Do you know why?
Is there an update?
Well, there's Adafruit IO.
Of course.
That's our Internet of Things service.
Yes.
And we have an update. We have over 24,000 users, almost 25,000 users.
That's
of Ada.
double, triple what we started with when
Yeah.
we first started this.
1,000 more than, over 1,000 more than we did last month.
Yeah.
60 millions of inserts in the last 7 days. 20,000 online feeds. 95 inserts per second for MQTT, that's the most popular one. And then 12 inserts per second via the REST.
The REST API is kind of getting up there. There was
It's getting up
10,
there.
now it's 12.
It's
okay.
happening. All right, next up. So we have an update to the Internet of Things Bill of Rights. We've been thinking about this a long time. So if you make Internet of Things devices, here's what you can expect from Adafruit, and we're hoping this is catchy. So we added this today. We're considering the following. Devices that are always listening have a physical off and on switch that clearly indicate to the user if and when they're listening. For example, a good practice could include a physical off switch and on switch, which breaks one of the power lines coming in to the recording component with an LED indicator powered and controlled only by the power line that clearly indicates to the user the devices is and isn't listening. Service devices and API usage of services and devices including Amazon, Alexa, Siri, Google Home, and others should clearly indicate when they are on and off, listening or not. So we're going to post up these little logos, but we want to have a little physical switch on PCBs and more, and cords and everything that says, I'm listening or I'm not.
Yeah.
And the user physically can see that.
And you came up with this because we were designing like a hat for the Raspberry Pi
Yeah.
for like voice control.
Yeah. So if you say like, Alexa, play Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell, it'll just do it.
Yeah.
And then it's always listening, and then you have to go to your Amazon account and find the sound files and delete them. It's a little creepy.
Yeah.
Siri's always listening. Okay, Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to be able to glance across the room and know what's listening, what's doing something.
And quickly be able to turn it off
Yeah.
with a switch, something physical.
Okay. And one of the main reasons is in the news, Jeff Bezos crawled into a giant robot this week. He's the guy who controls all the Alexas.
Yeah.
So he's in a giant robot suit.
Yeah.
No problem
This is
here.
a bad scene.
Yeah.
Haven't
Okay.
you guys watched the anime movie? This always ends badly.
Yeah. So that's it for now. We also added something to GitHub. It's our Adafruit editorial standards. So when we do large articles, we like to show our work. We like to say if we publish something that's a long form article that says editorial,
Yeah.
here's the standards that we stick to. A little bit of anniversary with Edward R. Murrow's. We're going to go see a movie. It's playing again. Good night and good luck. And it's really important that you have really good standards. You check your sources, you get third-party verification, you do all these things if you're going to write an article.
Well, we do have you post a social media report it would say once a year, every few months.
Every month.
And so, we have millions of people who are reading the blog. If we're going to do investigative reporting.
The blog is, our link blog, more like a Tumblr. We don't like to put our stuff on a service that could go away like Yahoo. So we'll post links on social media. But when we say editorial, a really good example is the Heathkit mystery.
Yeah.
So we really ran that down. We did trademark searches. We tried to figure out who really owns it. We interviewed the company. They had a response. We posted in full back. So that's the standards that we stick to. So when we say editorial, we want everyone to check our sources, verify the things we say. We're getting a little bit more time, and we're going to have a lot more articles, long-form articles about this current state of the maker market.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Ooh, so you can see our standards. If you have suggestions, do a pull request.
Yeah.
Okay. We hope others adopt it too. Okay. Next up, 3D printing. We have videos. It's time to play a lot of videos. Pedro? What you got this week? Well, Phil, we have LCD glasses.
Let's start with
Thanks,
that.
Pedro. Take it away.
So I think these are really cool because you can actually control the dark tint from the glass. And sandwiched in between these two sheets of glass is actually a layer of liquid crystal material. So when voltage is applied to the electrodes, it basically turns dark and filters out bright light. And depending on how much voltage is applied, you can actually control the tint or the opaqueness of the glass. So this special piece of glass is actually called a liquid crystal light valve. It's also known as an LCD controllable blackout panel, and they're mainly used in welding helmets because it can protect your eyes from pretty bright sparks. Okay, so here's how the circuit works. A resistor is wired across the positive and negative pins on the female JST connector. This is then wired to the electrodes on the blackout panel. A slide switch is wired in line with a JST extension cable. Then a LiPo battery is plugged into the slide switch. So whenever the slide switch is set on, the glass will become tinted. Once it's off, the resistor will actually drain the voltage and make the glass translucent again. The frame and the arms were 3D printed using PLA filament on the Sigma 3D printer from BCN 3D. Pedro actually designed these parts in Fusion 360, so the files are free to download and modify. Some of the features do require some support material, but they're pretty easy to set up and remove. To start this project, we'll begin by working on installing the resistor to the female JST connector. To do this, we'll need to straighten out the electrodes. We did this with a pair of flat pliers. Obviously, be careful not to break off the pin, so it's best to do it slowly. You might find they're a bit too close together to actually fit the resistor, so we can bend them apart. Next, we'll bend the two legs from the resistor so that they can cross each other. Then we can wrap them around the two electrodes from the JST connector. This way it sort of stays in place. After that, we can just solder them together. Once everything is soldered, we can then trim off any excess using flush snips, but be sure to leave some of the metal because we still need to attach wires to them. Next, we'll work on the slide switch and battery. We'll build a JST adapter so that we can easily disconnect the battery from the slide switch. Cut the wire short from the male JST connector, then connect the positive wire from the JST cable to one of the electrodes on the slide switch. Then solder the ground wire from the JST cable to the negative electrode on the female JST connector. And lastly, we'll connect the positive wire from the JST cable to the remaining electrode on the slide switch. Now we can start on the assembly. We'll do a dry fit and set the glass onto the 3D printed frame. Next, insert the nub from the enclosure arm piece and measure the distance you'll need to connect the wire from the electrode on the glass. Then do the same for the positive connection. We'll strip and tin the tips of each wire and trim the electrodes on the glass short. Now we can solder the wires to the shortened electrodes. Next, connect these wires to the female JST connector, the one with the resistor. Now we can insert the glass into the frame by pressing it until it clicks into place. We'll press fit the ground wire into the little channel that runs across the frame. Next, connect the female JST connector and slide switch adapter together. Insert the slide switch into the enclosure and set the actuator through that little opening. Now we can plug in the battery and fit it into place. The excess wiring can be tucked through this little slit. Lastly, we'll use pieces of solid core metal wire from a paper clip as pins for holding the arms to the frame, or better yet, just use a piece of 175 filament. And that's it. Now we have a pair of cycloptic glasses with controllable tint, which I think is pretty cool, although I can't wear them because I need contacts. Obviously, you could totally reuse this circuit and make it your own project. I think you could embed it into some sort of helmet or maybe attach an elastic band. That could work really well. I want to give a big shout out to Naomi Wu, who inspired Lamar and Phil to go out and stock these blackout panels. So if you're looking for other cool project ideas, be sure to check out her projects. I'll have it linked below. Hey, I want to hear what project ideas you have, so please put them down in the comments below. That's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did enjoy this week's project, you can let us know by hitting that like button. I'd also really appreciate it if you guys shared this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the Adafruit channel for new DIY projects every week.
And the prints keep coming. Here we go. The JST switch video is next.
Take it away.
For most projects, batteries are probably the best way to make them portable. Being able to turn your project on and off can be really useful, if not important. So it's really important that you don't have to take your project apart just to power it down. And that's when an on and off switch is really handy. Our slide switch JST adapter is basically a way for you to have an on and off switch for your projects. To power your portable projects, we do have a lot of different options for batteries. Most of them use a 2-pin JST connector. Boards like the Adafruit Circuit Playground, Feather, Flora, and Gemma all have onboard female JST connectors. This way it's easy to plug in a number of different batteries, and it's also easy to disconnect. Now, some of these boards do have on and off switches, but the problem with that is if it's embedded into a project, then you might not be able to get to it anymore. This has a male JST connector on one end, and on the other is a female connector. In between these two, wired in line with the voltage, is a slide switch. So you can connect this in between your battery and your board. All we need to do is plug in the battery to the female connector and then plug in the male connector to the board. So then we can turn the circuit on and off. Now, we do have pre-made JST extension cables with an on and off switch, but it's kind of bulky and oversized, so it's better if we fashion our own. That way it's much easier to embed into our projects. The third helping hand is a nice tool to have because it can hold things in place while you solder things together. The teeth from these little grabbers, however, tend to bite into wires, so here's a quick little tip. You can add heat shrink tubing to make it easier on things when grabbing onto them. Just add a piece to each grabber and apply heat. This adds a layer of protection and also makes things look nice. So now we can work with wires and avoid getting those bite marks. So here's all the bits and pieces you'll need to make your very own slide switch JST adapter. So I like to start with the slide switch. I'll secure it to one of the grabbers on the third helping hand and then use a pair of cutters to remove one of the legs. Then I'll cut the remaining two in half. Next, we can tin them by applying a tiny bit of solder using the tip of the iron. And with that, we can move on to the JST cable. The JST extension cable is lengthy, so we'll need to cut it down to size. I normally make the length the same size as the project enclosure. Then I'll split the voltage and ground wires apart because we'll need to wire them to separate connectors. Pieces of heat shrink tubing will help insulate our connection so we don't short anything out. Using wire strippers, I'll remove a bit of insulation from each wire and then secure the cable onto the third helping hand. Now I can tin the strands of wire by adding a tiny bit of solder, and this just makes it easier to attach them to connectors. Next, I'll take down the cable and secure the slide switch back onto the helping third hands. I'll cut another piece of heat shrink tubing and slide that over the voltage wire. Now I can attach this to one of the electrodes on the slide switch. Once soldered, I can set the heat shrink tubing and apply some heat to secure it in place. Next, I'll work on connecting the ground wire to the female JST connector, so I'll secure it to the helping third hands. Again, tinning the two electrodes with a bit of solder. Then I'll add yet another piece of heat shrink tubing, this time to the ground wire. Now I can attach the wire to the electrode on the negative side of the female JST connector. After that, I'll heat up the tubing to shrink it in place. Next up, we'll need a new piece of wire to connect this female JST connector to the slide switch. So I'll set it down and use the remaining wiring from the JST extension cable, cut off a piece of wire, then I'll peel away the red and black wires from each other and get the tips ready for wiring. Strip away some insulation using wire cutters, followed by tinning with a tiny bit of solder, and now we have our wire. Next, I'll cut up 2 more pieces of heat shrink tubing and slide them onto the wire. We'll secure the slide switch back onto the helping third hands and connect a wire to the remaining electrode. Slide over the heat shrink tubing and set it in place. After that, swap out the slide switch with the female JST connector. You might find the red wire is a little bit longer than needed, so we can trim it down to size. Once it's cut to size, we can then solder it onto the positive electrode on the female JST connector and cover up the exposed connection with our last piece of heat shrink tubing. And that's pretty much it. Now we have a really simple and easy to use slide switch for just about any project. So you can drop this into your project and have a way to power your circuit on and off. You could also wire in a slide switch directly on the battery itself, but I don't recommend doing this, mainly because it's potentially dangerous. More importantly, with this method, you can take out the battery and leave the slide switch embedded into your project. I find these really handy because I think I've used them in so many of our projects. I mean, it's kind of like the project that you have to make before the actual project. Anyway, I hope you guys found this useful. If you did, you can let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Adafruit channel for more DIY projects every week.
Good work, Noah and Pedro.
Switch it up.
Yeah. Speed print time, ready, set, go. If we would only have a lighthouse speed printed to go with that. Oh wait, we do. And don't forget every Wednesday, 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro. Learn how to make all this stuff and more. Okay,
And watch them design new products and projects and designs.
That's right. Crazy ideas from our heads to their printers and more. Okay. Lady Ada, the code is NRF52. Are you ready for this
Yep.
new product bonanza?
This is going to be
Here we go.
new, 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 new. Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, so we're gonna actually start off with the game bonnet, arcade bonnet,
This one?
because I have a demo ready. So it's gonna be
This
yeah,
one?
yeah, that one, that one. Okay, we're gonna kick it off pie style.
Look at this.
This is the arcade bonnet silkscreen by Phil B. Beautiful. This little,
Dangerous to
sorry,
go
did I say,
alone.
I don't know what I said. I meant joy bonnet. There was the arcade bonnet we did 2 weeks ago. This is the joystick bonnet. It basically lets you, you plug this into a Raspberry Pi 0 or 0W, and it gives you an analog joystick and then 8 buttons. Select, start, A, B, X, Y, player 1, player 2. It's super cute. It's fully assembled, and we even wrote code to make it work great with like RetroPie emulation station. So let me show the demo, and then I'll show it off.
And go to
in
the
person.
overhead?
Yeah, go to the overhead. So I have this set up So it's got, I've got my HDMI screen, and then I've got my Pi Zero. You want to put it in a case because it's kind of like hard to grip otherwise.
Okay.
But then you get all the buttons. It's kind of like an SNES controller, NES controller, and
We're gonna play some video games.
I'm gonna play some video games. Hopefully, the music isn't loud enough. It'll get
It'll be
captured.
okay.
Hold on, let me lock this screen. But it's actually kind of fun, and it's like, you don't have to use it for playing games. You could use it as a media controller or something. But we just thought a lot of people would want to have this for portable gaming because it's kind of nice. All you need is
Super
a
cute.
USB cable and an HDMI cable.
It's amazing.
And then you can suck at this game as much as I do.
Bring the joy of sucking at games anywhere, anytime.
There you go. So, it's meant for use with a Raspberry Pi Zero. So I'll go and I'll zoom in here. 1 second. Let me flip this around. It's meant to be used with a Raspberry Pi Zero. You can plug it right on top. And you could use it with an A+ or a B+ or a 3, but you wouldn't be able to hold on to it. And Pi Zero, if it comes overclocked a little bit, it's safe to overclock. You can play like NES and MAME games. And we like RetroPie. It's a distribution that's pretty easy to use. Once you boot RetroPie, you just have to log in and then run our installer script to add the little thing that converts these button presses into arcade keyboard presses. But yeah, again, you don't have to use it for gaming. You can use it for anything. We just thought it would be fun to have it be for gaming.
Yeah.
And you don't have to solder it, which we asked Samantha from Micro Center. I asked her, do you think people would like Raspberry Pi accessories assembled? Would they pay a little bit more for assembled? She said, yeah, people would like the assembled stuff more.
Yeah.
So we're trying out having all our bonnets from now on be assembled with the headers already put on. So you just plug it in. You do need to put headers on the Pi Zero, but you can maybe hammer them in with hammer headers, or maybe you can get a hold of a Raspberry Pi Zero with headers installed. So,
Okay.
Fun little gaming accessory. We'll see.
Okay.
People can you can put it in your pocket, and all you need is a USB and HDMI. So
Moving right along.
that is the Joy Bonnet. Okay. Next up, we have another bonnet. This one is not assembled because you have to solder to use it anyways, so we felt like it would be more useful to come in pieces. It's a proto bonnet. It's kind of like the Perma Proto you know and love. You get power, ground, and a kind of a breadboard shape. So on the bottom, because the overhead is fine. On the bottom, you have sort of a breadboard configuration where all these pads are connected. So you can use chips, sensors, and then wire them up. All the Raspberry Pi GPIOs are brought out up here. So you can use wires to connect it up. Again, you can use it on a Raspberry Pi A+, B+, 3, whatever, but it fits perfectly on a Pi Zero. So we recommend it for use with a Pi Zero, but you can use it with anything if you want.
Okay. Moving right along. More.
Yeah, a lot of Pi stuff. This is the Picade hat. This is a kind of an update from Pi Maroni. They had a Picade controller before, but it used USB. This one, like the arcade and Joy Bonnet, uses GPIO. This is mostly for people who are building arcade, emulators. It's better for use for the Pi 3 because the Pi 3 can emulate, Nintendo 64 and PlayStation type games, whereas the Zero is kind of better for NES, maybe SNES and MAME type games. It has a lot of GPIOs for buttons. It has up, down, left, right, select, start. It has a power switch, so you can actually use one of the pads for turning the device off safely. It'll do a safe shutdown. It comes fully assembled, so that's kind of nice. Use terminal blocks, and it has audio amplifier built in as well.
UK's first official Kickstarter.
Yeah, this was UK's first, and this is kind of the update to it. So I kind of like that they didn't, rest on their laurels. We're we're going to upgrade this Picade to make this hat much less expensive, a lot easier to use. They don't have an App Mega to do the keyboard stuff. They just use Python U input.
Speaking of, I'll be doing an article on Kickstarter Live because I thought they did a really good thing for makers who do hardware. Very excellent.
Yeah.
Amazing. Kickstarter
It really,
figured it out.
yeah, this is a good idea.
Next up.
This is kind of interesting. So this is it doesn't actually have a real name. I guess it's like a PLC Arduino. It's
Thing.
It's this thing, but it's a really useful thing.
Product ID 3418.
Yeah, it's 3418. It's from it's a group called Digital Loggers. They make a really nice IoT relay that we
It's open
like.
source PLC.
It's an open source PLC. It's not open source hardware, but the software is open source. I just want to clarify that. It's basically an Arduino Mega. It has the same chip and interface as an Arduino Mega with an ESP8266 and a TFT and then a bunch of like relay control outputs. So it's basically if you want to design your own PLC for like industrial controls and you don't want to spend $1,000 on a PLC, you can pick up one of these and like you get to use Arduino that you know and love, and you get Wi-Fi control, which is like it's not inexpensive in a PLC, but with the ESP, it's very simple. And it's fully documented, so it's like very easy for you to design your own PLC control. So I don't do PLC, but I thought this was kind of interesting. And for people who do industrial controls or robotics, I thought this could be kind of handy. A lot of protected outputs, relays.
We have friends who do PLC.
Yeah, PLC, you know me.
Yeah. Okay.
You know this. This could come in very handy.
All right.
So check it out.
Next up.
It's a connector. It's a little friend connector. This is a 1.27 millimeter pitch 2x5 SWD connector. It's used for people who want to add SWD connectors to our NRF52 Featherwing. We don't include it, and we'll explain why. But if you do want to add an SWD connector to something, you can solder this in. It's a surface mount version, but you can bend the pins out and like solder it into a through-hole connection if you really want. And this is for use with like a J-Link or other SWD debugger connector.
Okay.
Every Cortex chip on the market basically uses these connectors and this interface. So if you're not familiar with this, you will be real soon because it's used for
Everything.
pretty much everything now.
Okay. Next up.
We have a new Featherwing. This is last week's new product, Featherwing. It is an update, a revision of the Music Maker Featherwing. This time, instead of headphone out, it has an amplifier built in. And so you can just connect speakers directly. There's some 4-ohm speakers, and it will bump some tunes for you. It's works with all of our feathers, which is really nice. Even the ESP8266 or the NR52, it's all been tested. And you get MP3, Ogg Vorbis, even wave playback. And again, you have the amplifier built in. So it's really good for projects where you want to do some audio playback and you don't want to have a separate amplifier. You just want to have speakers directly.
My entire music collection is in Ogg Vorbis, Lady Ada. I
tip
tip my fedora to you.
I'm not surprised. And I have a demo even, so I can put this Joy bonnet away and show this off.
Those who know choose Ogg.
Yes. Well, Ogg is free. I was actually looking up the MP3 patents, and they still have another year before they expire. So, for example, here is the feather wing on top of a 328 or 32U4.
And we made this music, so YouTube, don't content ID us.
Yeah.
We have a physical album. We made this music.
So, drive some speakers very nicely. And it's not very loud because I didn't want it to overwhelm, but you can get pretty loud, 3 watts per channel. Just make sure that your battery or your USB connector can supply the current. But pretty handy.
How loud it is? It's so loud that
6
when
watts.
Lady Ada has her door closed and doing engineering far away from me, and I'm trying to sleep, I can still hear it.
All lies.
All right.
Very loud, but yeah, you want to do music playback, add it to your feather. Who knows what you want to do, like Bluetooth.
It's a little too loud.
MP3.
Okay.
What?
It's okay.
It's good loud.
Yeah, good loud.
Good loud.
Let's keep going.
Okay. This is a Sharp proximity sensor. I don't remember the exact part number because it's like GPYF0360, whatever.
From Palolu.
It's from Palolu. Put on a breakout. This is a sensor that's really good for nearby proximity detection. It'll detect if something is between 0.5 centimeters and 5 centimeters away. So good for like robots, keep it from bumping into the wall or something, or if you want to detect like a hand wave. It doesn't tell you how far it is, it just tells you that something is in the way. Handy sensor, some people requested it. We have it.
Okay, next up. This is all the stuff that we're catching up from last week. i3 compute module.
This is the non-light version of the Raspberry Pi compute module. We've talked about the light version and the board that goes with it. This is basically a Raspberry Pi 3 with all the GPIO broken out. And this version also has 4 gigabytes of MMC memory, so it's nice fast flash memory. So it's all in one. It's basically a computer. And then it's in a SODIMM format, so you can plug it into a connector very easily. So basically, if you don't want something...
We have that board that you can put it in.
The developer board.
Yeah.
So this is, they're not going to sell that many. That's why it's like, even though it doesn't have the connectors, it's more expensive than the Pi 3 because they're just not. They don't make many of these. This is not a
Not
high
millions of them.
volume. Yeah, it's not a high volume manufacturer. But for people who want to, for example, make their own PLC that has a Raspberry Pi, you may not be able to fit the Raspberry Pi into it, or some wearables, or like NEC has that monitor that you can put in the Raspberry Pi compute module.
Store display, stuff like that.
Sort of display stuff.
Okay.
There's stuff when you want to have a very slim version and you're willing to pay a little bit more. It's still a really good deal. You get a quad core, 64-bit ARM 8 processor, that 4 gigabytes of flash, and of course all the GPIO are brought out. So if you need something where you have a Raspberry Pi 3 and you need a ton of GPIO, you get like 100, like all of them, instead of with the Raspberry Pi 3 where you only get like 30-ish GPIO that you can use.
Okay, a couple more to go.
And then check out the dev board we have as well.
Look at this cute robot.
It's coming soon.
Look at
This
this
is
cute
the
little robot.
Watson TJ bot. This is a kind of a this is the rendering, but it's a cardboard cutout robot with a Raspberry Pi and a bunch of parts, and we'll have it in the store soon. We're actually tweaking the cardboard to be a little bit easier to use. We have some improvements for it.
You met Watson.
We did.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
a rendering of Watson.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a little device that lets you build your own voice interfaces. So, for example, you want to build your own, like Alexa, or you want to build your own smart agent. Watson will do the Watson software will do the voice recognition for you.
Need a switch though. As per. Need a switch. Got to turn it off. Watson. Are you listening?
It did. Yeah. You could add a switch.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be very easy to add a switch. So you can. So you can do it does the voice recognition, then you can add the commands and responses you want. So you can program it yourself. So it's kind of more of a developer tool if you want to use the Watson back end. There's some instructable tutorials that we link to. You can check it out. And then we want to basically design this to be a no solder kit. And so it's pretty easy to put together.
That's right.
You just have to get some API keys and stuff, and you're ready to go.
Alright.
We also have a video.
We do, but we're not going to show it because this is the assembly video and it's available on the product page.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Down below.
Down below.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're finally...
Here we are, the star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada. Here it is.
Okay.
Why we have the code, why we're all here tonight.
This is a long time coming. This is the Feather NRF52 Bluefruit. This is a new Feather core, so it's kind of a big deal. Instead of having a Bluetooth module plus, an Atmega 32U4 or M0, this is a Bluetooth chip that is powerful enough that not only can it run the Bluetooth, soft device, it can do the Bluetooth communication stuff, but it's also powerful enough chip that you can program it at the same time. So it has, like a ton of flash. It runs at 64 megahertz. It's a Cortex M4. It's the latest chip from Nordic. And there's an Arduino core for it. So it's really nice. This Feather, basically, once you download our board support package, it works really well with Arduino. You can do analog inputs, PWNs, GPIO, NeoPixels, all the stuff you know
This
and
must
love.
be very expensive though.
No, it's actually not that expensive because you program the chip directly. You don't have a secondary processor. So it's less expensive, even though it's more powerful, it's less expensive.
How much
than
would this
other-
cost?
This is about $24.95. Stop. What the heck is wrong with you? So this is designed by K-Town. K-Town did the hardware, and TAC did a massive amount of software and firmware design, including the amazing bootloader. The bootloader for this auto resets, so you don't have to press any buttons or do any noodling around. When you upload from Arduino, it automatically uploads immediately and then restarts the sketch. We also have over-the-air programming working. We don't recommend it for now. We're still testing it, but you will be able to program that core chip over the air by you can distribute firmware.
That's what everyone wanted.
And it works with all of our Feather wings. So you've got 50.
50.
Well, except for the GPS because of the
Not
UART.
GPS.
Except for GPS, all of them work, and
Okay.
I tested them. So if you want to add an OLED, or you want to add sensors, or you want to add a display, or you want to add a TFT to it, data logging, all these things are possible. So I'm pretty excited. It's really powerful, and again, it's native Bluetooth. Our Bluefruit apps, our Bluefruit app does work with it, and I have a demo I can show. Hopefully,
do it.
it'll work.
Let's go.
I do want to mention that if you have sketches from our previous Bluefruit, the ones that had a 32U4 plus a module, you might have to adapt those because now that you're running the code natively, you don't have this AT command that you have to run. You'd actually just tell the chip
do it.
directly. So
Okay.
it's a little
Try this live
different.
demo. This is always scary.
This is a little bit scary.
Oh boy.
Okay. Also, the app was not picking up my fingerprints. The hardware was working well. Okay, so this is the hardware, and
There
then
it is. NeoPixel ring.
NeoPixel ring, and then I've got the iOS.
iOS.
So let me hold on.
Don't show your password.
I'm not showing my password. Not that it matters. I'd have to like come here and grab it. Okay, so let me check my peripheral. So it shows up as a. Can you see
Yep.
the text? Okay.
Yep.
So let me. This is the problem I was having. It wasn't picking up my button press. There you go. So you connect to it. And then the demo I just had is the color picker. You have, we have this controller that lets you stream like GPS and location magnetometer and, the control pad. But the demo that I was going to do is just the color picker.
Okay.
So if I say red and then send the color.
Wow, it worked.
It worked. And
This
then
is real. This is alive.
And then if I say blue.
The genuine thing.
Oh, you know what? It's, sorry, 1 second.
It's so bright you can't tell.
I know, but
your wire came out.
It came out, yeah. Hold on. Oh wait, now I broke it.
You broke it. You got enough live
It was
demo.
totally working for like a moment there.
You got live demo enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot. All right, I'll get it.
We'll fix it in post. Okay. With that, Lady Ada, you know what that is? That's the end of your
We'll
product.
have a video soon for it. Maybe
Of
while
course.
answering questions, I'll get it working too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, that's the end of new products.
Yes.
All right. We got to get out of here.
Okay.
We're going to keep speeding through. Code is NRF52. It supports us, an open source hardware company, and all of us. We like healthcare and benefits and 401ks and paid time off for charity and all these fun things. So when you purchase something, that's where the money goes. Because
Support us.
no loans, no venture capital.
We have to buy this cloud desk.
Yeah,
to
cloud
build
desks
that.
aren't free.
No. As we found out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do It's Not Out Yet, Don't Ask. You wanted to show something?
Yeah, well, I've got this, the thing I talked about with the Circuit Python. It is,
In the Adafruit Vault.
yeah, this is the new the Circuit Python compatible Feather that's going to be coming out soon. It's the, it's got the extra 2 megabytes of flash and a NeoPixel, and it's going to be, custom designed basically for running Circuit Python. So it's going to be our first Circuit Python designed hardware.
All right, and then I have 2 things I'm working on. One, I'm thinking about doing some little vignettes. I got this book, The Art of Atari. So this is the exciting graphics for backgammon, but then the game kind of sucked. So this
I
is
love the
amazing.
graphics.
It's like math, and there's all these people doing
There's
stuff.
people
and then
thinking.
it's like 4 plus 2. So I
Yeah.
thought maybe I'd do some painting. So I might work on that. And also, as you saw, here's the cloud desk. We're working on it. That's not a joystick. It's actually the tools that we were using to build it.
Oh, yeah, no.
So we'll have more. This is our Internet of Things desk. So we'll have a neat series coming up soon of Internet of Things. And Lady Ada will be on the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming up.
Internet Control
Okay,
Club.
so we're not going to do questions tonight because we're going to give something away.
Yeah.
And then we got to get out of here. So Lady Ada.
Can I just do my demo real fast again? Because
Sure, man. It's your show.
I like to get the
It's
demo.
your show.
I like to get the demo right.
It's your
Okay.
show.
So I just reconnected.
I just work here.
So now I can select the color, and if you actually plug it into the right pin, which is like the hardest problem with IoT, so you can select color. So just showing that it works great with our app, which is lovely. And we'll have some more demos. And one of the nice things that this can do, again, thanks to TAC's amazing code, is it can do Bluetooth Central Master Mode. So you'll be able to use this to connect to other Bluefruit modules or other Bluetooth devices and act as a central, which is something we couldn't do before. It's a top request. So stay tuned. We're going to have lots more fun demos.
Okay. So you
I
did it.
am blue with joy.
You did it. Okay, we're going to give away something. What do you want to give away tonight?
We're going to give an NRF52 Feather.
An NRF52 Feather. Wow, that's a big
Yeah.
deal. Okay, here are the rules. We're going to open up the phone lines, and the first caller who makes it through gets in. If the calls don't work, if someone does something really mean and try to jam the phone lines,
Please don't jam the phone lines.
We can't give anything
We can't
away.
give anything away. And please, if you've won something before, please let
Yeah,
other
if you
people.
want something before.
Yeah, give everybody a try.
Give everybody a
Come on.
chance.
Everybody gets a chance.
Everybody should have a
So
chance.
call that.
Yeah, the phone number is ohmbitstab. And we'll see who calls in. When you call in, say your name, say where you're from, and I'm also gonna.
Is it ready? Can I speak up?
Yeah, let me just.
Okay.
I want to get ready.
Stay in the
here.
line.
Yeah, stay in the line.
Stay in the line.
Okay.
Okay, am I ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Hello, you've reached the Ask an Engineer live hotline. Please say your name and where you're calling from.
I made it.
Yay!
My name is Greg Gutzman. I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland.
Wow, well, thank you for calling, Greg. You are the winner. Tonight you win an NRF 52 Feather. I hope you enjoy it. Do you have any projects that you're working on? What are you hacking on nowadays?
I am. I sure hope to make a show and tell. I'm working on a project for my boat to do a Blue Fruits controller for a bunch of LEDs.
Oh,
In
man.
fact, I just placed a big order, and I am thrilled that this new module is out, and hope you're working on a new Phona module as well.
Okay, demands are being placed over the phone. But yes, I will. I am working on that. But we want to get this NRF 52 Feather. As you can tell, it's very exciting. I can't wait to have it be on a boat with you. Thank you so much for calling. Don't forget to email support@Adafruit and tell them that you're Greg from Maryland and you won the fabulous prize.
I will do that.
And we
Thank
took
you
a
so
photo.
much for all you do for us.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Bye.
Bye.
For all you youngins, that's a Polaroid coming out of there. Woo, we did it.
Whoa. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Gonna send that in the mail with a stamp. Okay.
I look at all my samples and demos. Everything's just so crazy here.
Congratulations, Greg. Greg, when you email support@adafruit.com, tell them you got 3406.
Yeah, he's gonna put on a boat.
You're gonna put on a boat.
Yeah. Wait, you printed out 2? Did you mean 2?
Yes,
Okay.
that's cool.
That's cool.
All right, everybody, that's the show for tonight. We got to get out of here at 9 o'clock on the dot tonight. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ask your questions next week. We had to cram 2 shows into one, but next week we'll answer questions.
Yep, phone worked. Everything worked out really nice. All right, well, thank you, everyone. We're going to be back next week, 7:30 p.m., show and tell.
8
every
o'clock.
week, 8 o'clock, Ask an Engineer. And
More streams, I'm sure.
more streams and more.
More live demos.
More live demos.
More.
Thank you, everyone. NRF 52 is the code.
I can't get the phone. We gotta go.
And we got to go.
We gotta go.
Telephone is
Calling
ringing.
Call next week. Congratulations, Greg.
Do you have a cat? Your moment of Zener. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.